Our first speaker is Mr. Isaac Traffas. Isaac was born in Wichita, and he grew up with his head whirling with stories of adventure and heroism under the trees, on the seas, and among the stars. He graduated from the Northfield School of Liberal Arts and attended Benedictine College. And there he encountered the wisdom of the church in her philosophy and theology, even while studying biochemistry and mathematics. He also met his wife, Margaret Mary. As they considered how to educate their fledgling children, they rediscovered Catholic classical education. And it is this grand tradition, the church's understanding of man's purpose, that is woven together with knowledge of creation and its creator. This forms a trellis upon which their children could grow towards and flourish in the radiance of the eternal God. And so in that vein, Isaac is going to speak to us about our vision for a Catholic classical school. So please welcome Isaac.
All right, thank you very much, John. Well, as John kind of already articulated, we'll have three speakers tonight. I'll be presenting on the vision of what Catholic classical education is. Howard will show us how it is embodied in his past. And then Dr. Cliff Arnold will talk about how you can help bring about that school, particularly in preparation for our meeting with the bishop on December 9th. We are asking the bishop for a Catholic classical school to be established in the city of Wichita by August 2023. And so we're going to ask him, is it feasible to establish such a school under the diocesan school system? If not, with your blessing and under your authority, may we establish such a school? Now, as I said, my goal tonight is to paint for you a picture of what a Catholic classical education is and what it will look like in Wichita. The terms classical education and a liberal arts education get thrown around by so many different schools with very different curricula and pedagogies that the terms have become muddied. So much of our group's work for the last 3 years was to understand what a Catholic classical education was historically and what its form might look like today. We compiled the results of our research and discussion into a vision document, and it is from that document that I'll be drawing from today. So I'd like to begin with the basic principle of education. The way we teach assumes a particular understanding of the human person, what a human being is and what his purpose is. A human being is a being of both body and soul, and the body and soul are united. They're composite. They can't be separated. In fact, the separation of the body and soul is death. And as an embodied soul, we come to know things through our senses. Therefore, an education must be embodied so that things may pass through the body to the soul. The purpose of a human being is to know, love, and serve God in this life and to be forever happy with him in the next. Now, we know God with the mind, we love God with the heart, and we serve God with the body. Therefore, an education must cultivate the entire person, mind, heart, and body, for God. A Catholic classical education does this through truth, goodness, and beauty. The mind is made to know truth, the heart is made to love goodness, and the body is made to sense beauty. And that is because God is truth, goodness, and beauty itself. All that he created is true, good, and beautiful because he created it. And all that is true, good, and beautiful leads us to God. Therefore, a school should be filled with these, and nothing that is not true, good, or beautiful should be there. So, to summarize, an education should be embodied and should cultivate the entire person, mind, heart, and body, for God through truth, goodness, and beauty. And the form of Catholic classical education uniquely fulfills that purpose. The first part of the school is the school building itself. Now, the word school comes from the Greek word skole, which means leisure. Now, this might sound strange to us, but a school should be a place of leisure, where truth, goodness, and beauty are encountered in an attitude of receptivity and rest, like in our homes. It should be beautifully painted and decorated, like our homes. The class should be seated around a table or something in that shape, like a family or friends gathered together for conversation, because the class is there to dine on truth, goodness, and beauty. The faculty, the second part of the school, are those who have been fed at the banquet of truth, goodness, and beauty, and they invite the students to the feast. A Catholic classical school is a community which together seeks God through truth, goodness, and beauty. The faculty together are the embodiment of this community, and the students are invited into it. Each member of the faculty is formed in the Catholic classical tradition through education, experience, or training. And as an aside, if there are any Catholic school teachers here tonight, there's an organization called the Institute for Catholic Liberal Education whose entire purpose is to form teachers in the tradition. The faculty together are united by the shared pursuit of truth, goodness, and beauty. As students enter into the community of the faculty, they join in this pursuit of truth, goodness, and beauty, and together seek God. Now, the third part of the school is the curriculum. I'll first give kind of a brief overview of Catholic classical education, its form. So it begins by forming the heart to love what is good and beautiful through a poetic education. Once the heart is well formed, the mind must be prepared for truth. The student learns the liberal arts, which allow one to discern the truth of things and to convey those truths to others well. With the mind thus prepared, the student seeks truth in the sciences, philosophy, and finally theology. And so the mind, heart, and body are led through truth, goodness, and beauty to God. Now, I don't have time to go through an entire curriculum with you tonight, so I'm just going to illustrate its form with a couple of highlights. So first, I'll start with literature. Now, there are few things that form the heart better than good stories, and the heart of a child needs to be formed. Because of original sin, very often our loves and emotions are not congruous with the good reality that God has made. Very often we do not love what we should, and so we must cultivate the capacity to love what is good and be moved by what is beautiful. And that is what good books do. A good book is beautifully written, has good characters and story, and has a true understanding of the reality that God has made. A good book embodies truth, goodness, and beauty, and reveals them to us in a way that all, young and old, can understand. And because truth, goodness, and beauty are embodied well in a good book, they appear desirable to the reader. The reader comes to know them and learns to desire them, and wants to conform his life to those stories. Lord of the Rings can help us know and understand providence. Jane Austen can help us understand virtue and vice and their consequences. But perhaps even more importantly, they can teach us to love providence and virtue and teach us to hate vice. And through the love of what is good, the student comes to love he who alone is truly good. The second part of the curriculum I'll touch on is music. Aquinas says that beauty is proper proportion. And in this sense, music is beauty embodied. Beauty in music occurs in harmony when the notes occur in proper proportion to each other. This beauty and harmony of music teaches us the same harmony and beauty should be found in creation and in human relationships. In fact, the ancients thought that the heavens were so beautiful that they must be ordered musically. In the school, songs are sung that allow one to pass through the music to the harmony of creation and of persons. They'll sing the music of the church, chant the parts of the Mass, sing the Latin hymns that the church has been singing for over 1,500 years. They can participate in Gregorian chant or polyphony choirs. They will also learn folk songs that have deep roots in our country and that will allow our children to put down deep roots as well. And so through music, the students learn harmony, and that beauty comes when there are proportional relationships. The hearts and minds of the students are filled with beauty, and they become attuned to it. And, as in music, when in tune, what comes forth makes the surrounding space echo with beauty. The third part of the curriculum I'll touch on is science, which is the knowledge of the truth of reality. Science should teach us to see the truth, goodness, and beauty of creation so that we see creation as God sees it, and thus come to know and love the Creator through his works. In America, we like to say that we're good at science. But how many of us can identify any of God's creation that we see around us each day? Because I know I can't. The school will teach students to recognize and marvel at stars, clouds, birds, trees, insects, and rocks. And through these encounters, students will learn to find joy in the goodness and beauty of created things, and through them see their Creator. In the more mathematical sciences, the student follows the great scientists through their writings so that he arrives at the same understanding as these brilliant discoverers. In doing this, the student comes to know why a principle is true, and he can demonstrate that what he knows is true. And then he can use the equations well. So by approaching reality in a spirit of wonder, the student sees how creation is woven together to form a marvelous pattern that reveals the truth, goodness, and beauty of God. Now these three, literature, music, and science, are just 3 parts of the curriculum. The entire curriculum is integrated and oriented towards the contemplation of truth, goodness, and beauty of creation so that the student is led to the Creator. Now the fourth and most important part of the school are the families, the parents and students. A Catholic school is a cooperation between the parents and the church to educate the children for life in Christ. Families are invited into the life and leisure of a Catholic classical school, whether in poetry recitations, scientific demonstrations, or contra dances. The school must always remember that the family is more important than the school. This family is the school of charity in which the child is to grow and is the student's first duty. Therefore, the school must not exhaust the child while at school and must minimize work at home, especially in the lower grades. The child has already been absent from the family for the entire day. He needs to be fully present with his family, with energy to love and plenty of time for life together. It is in this cooperation of respecting the primacy of the family while integrating the family into the school that the school truly allows the student to flourish. And a flourishing student is the goal of Catholic classical education. The truth, goodness, and beauty of God are the food of the human person, and a Catholic classical education embodies them and immerses the student in them through every aspect of the school. The mind is illuminated, the heart is enkindled, and the body is strengthened. And through the encounter with the truth, goodness, and beauty of creation, the student is led to the Creator, who is truth, goodness, and beauty itself, and in whose presence we will find eternal happiness. To him be honor, glory, and thanksgiving, now and unto ages of ages. Amen.